Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday, June 11th, 2026. This is Truth News. I am Walter Bass. Today, we are going to discuss why America hates God. We're going to go over the Ten Commandments, which I have a verse open that I'm going to read first after the First Amendment. Because the United States government, let me scoot this desk back a little bit. There we go. Get a little more room. All right. Have to make some adjustments on the fly here. Because the United States government, the United States media, and numerous people seem to have forgotten that this is the law to the United States of America. Not people, not suits, not ties, not Congress. These are just people. Actually, they're not people. They're human animals. They're scumbags. They're creatures. They're evil, they're demonic, they're satanic, they're cannibals, and they have no business roaming in society, let alone ruling society. That being said, let's go into the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, which is the entire premise for every single one of these YouTube videos. Not to mention the hundreds of thousands of phone calls and emails and requests for federal casework, including a federal lawsuit filed in Riverside County for the kidnapping, violent sexual assault, and presumed murder of my 7-year-old son, Grayson Bass, who I have not seen or heard from since 2021. As revenge and retaliation for reporting a serial child killer, serial child rapist, serial child predator, State Judge Kelly Hansen. Let's put a picture of him up. This man seems to think that because he's a state judge, he has a right to kidnap children, stick his dick in children, murder children, rape children, torture children, abuse children, and sell children. He thinks qualified immunity applies to crimes against humanity because he's an elected state judge in Riverside County. That's right, Riverside County, where Greg Laurie from Harvest Church is being sued for trafficking children from Riverside to Romania for 20 years. The same Riverside County the Turpin kids were from. If you don't know that story, I encourage you to look it up. And just basically the most corrupt county in the country, maybe in competition with Maricopa County, Arizona. But definitely the most corrupt county. And this scumbag stole my 7-year-old son, stuck his dick in my 7-year-old son, and the United States government has backed him because for 17 years, Kelly L. Hansen, this scumbag right here, has been stealing, molesting, raping, murdering, torturing, and selling children. This scumbag has more victims of children he has kidnapped, raped, murdered, and sold than all of the victims in the 9/11 terrorist attack. He's got 17 years worth of victims. That's right. We're talking maybe tens of thousands of innocent children. Thousands of families ripped apart and destroyed so he could stick his dick in children because that's what he loves to do. And he thinks that being a state judge entitles him to stick his dick in children with no accountability. And the FBI, retired federal judge Stephen Larson, Attorney General Rob Bonta, Governor Gavin Newsom, the Homeland Security, numerous politicians, local, state, federal law enforcement across the country all seem to agree that since he's gotten away with it for 17 years and has thousands, if not tens of thousands of victims of children, we need to make Walter Bass shut up and go away. Because it's much easier to make a nobody, just a private citizen, blue-collar guy, it's much easier to make him shut up and go away than it is to prosecute a serial child murderer with thousands of victims. We don't want to do that. I mean, the guy's been killing kids for 17 years. What's one more? What's one more? I mean, he's been doing it for 17 years. And that's where we are. That's why I make these YouTube videos. That's why this channel was created, all in advocacy for the protection of children from the United States of baby rape, the world's largest child sex slavery industrial complex to ever exist, using the Safe Family Adoption Act, CPS, adoption agencies, and confidentiality laws to conduct a genocide of children. That's right, thanks to Israel infiltrating our government, buying politicians left and right, all the way up to the president, we now have a satanic occult of Baal worshippers serving as public servants of the United States of America and being domestic terrorists to we the people of the United States of America, who are a self-governing people who use elected officials to serve our will and our wishes, who have turned against us to punish us and terrorize us, murder us, and do anything they can so they can serve the greater power of Israel. We all know it. It's well documented. Speaking of which, have the Epstein survivors gotten justice? I know those Farmer sisters went to the FBI in 1996, 30 years ago. They went to the FBI begging for help for being raped as teenagers. And yeah, the FBI has done nothing but terrorize them for 30 years. Good job, FBI. Great job, guys. I mean, your organization is first class, tip top. And before we go any further, while I'm in the Epstein files, I just want to point out something. From 2001 2019, 18 years, Leslie Groff was the personal assistant to Jeffrey Epstein. She did all of his scheduling, phone calls, even did payouts and all of that from mainly New York City. In 18 years, and this is throughout the conviction in 2007 through 2009 when he was tried and convicted for soliciting a minor for prostitution, which was nonsense. She had no idea that Jeffrey Epstein was a demonic monster. She had no clue that he was raping children, and all of his rich buddies were raping children, despite the fact she was scheduling all of these meetings, arranging for all of these meetings with all of his cabal buddies. She had no clue. For 18 years, worked for him, personal assistant, did all of his scheduling, phone calls, threw out a conviction for raping a child, a solicitation of prostitution of a minor. Throughout that conviction, she still had no clue and continued to work for him. That really says a lot right there. And her name is mentioned 166,000 times in the Epstein files. 166,000 times in the Epstein files. And she had no clue that Jeffrey Epstein was a serial child rapist. Donald Trump's name's mentioned 36,000 times. Katie Johnson was 13 years old when Donald J. Trump raped her, and she went to the FBI and she was threatened. And she hasn't got justice to this day. So before we get into the Bible, which I'm going to get into, I wanted to define terrorism, because if you use that word, YouTube will shadow ban you and block you because there's trigger words you can't say, like Israel, terrorism, Jew, child sex trafficking, rape, murder. YouTube, despite in a country that we have freedom of speech, it's a first guaranteed right to we the people, and that includes all media sources. We have a freedom of speech, and if you want to open a media source, you have to allow freedom of speech or you're in violation of constitutional rights. We're going to define terrorism. Terrorism, this is the definition, is the unlawful use of violence or threats to intimidate or coerce a civilian population or government with the aim of furthering political, social, or ideological objectives. Do you think the Epstein files, they've terrorized American citizens? Do you think threatening Marjorie Taylor Greene's children and threatening her home, firing her, Thomas Massie being fired, do you think this is terrorism? I mean, look, let me read the definition again. Terrorism is the unlawful use of violence or threats to intimidate or coerce a civilian population or government with the aim of furthering political, social, or ideological objectives. Let's think about that for a minute. Political, social, or ideological objectives. You're trying to get us to, we the people, to accept that raping children is no big deal. that cannibalism of children is no big deal. No, I don't accept that. Never will. Never have and never will. And now I'm going to get into the Bible, and we're gonna look at some God stuff, because every day I stay grateful to God that I had the strength, the endurance, the wisdom to persevere through this madness that the United States government has put me through, all so they could stick a dick in my 7-year-old son. And I haven't seen or heard from my son since 2021. We're pushing 5 years of this. September 9th will be the 5-year anniversary since Kelly L. Hansen kidnapped my 7-year-old son and stuck his dick in my 7-year-old son, causing physical injuries that I reported to the FBI immediately. So we're going to read John 15:13. Greater love has no one than this, than one lay down his own life for his friends. Let me tell you something. I have laid down everything for these children, not just for my child. It's not just about my individual son. This is about the micro, which is mine, and the macro, which is all of these children. All of them. The United States of America has used legislation for decades to slaughter and sell innocent children. It is the backbone of the United States economy. And you cannot possibly do that and believe in God or love God or even think about God. You have to be demonic and satanic to look at children as sex toys and financial commodities. Period. Full stop. And this is why tonight's show is, why does America hate God? So I don't understand why everyone, I have a big problem when I mention I'm a follower of Jesus Christ and I don't do that, I don't eat that, I don't go there. There's a lot of things I don't do because I don't want to betray my faith in God. And I get a lot of backlash from that. I get a lot of snubbing or ridicule, and I think to myself every time, why do you hate God? He gave us the planet. He gave us the air you breathe. He gave us the food you eat. Everything you have comes from God. Man didn't make the banana tree. God did. Man didn't make the orange tree. God did. Man didn't make fish. Man didn't make chickens. God did. Man might control them and breed them and sell them, but they are not the creator of any of this. None of it. God created it all. Jesus Christ created everything you have, everything. He created you. You. And you hate your creator? He gave you sunrises and sunsets and butterflies and bees and fresh air and fresh cut grass smells and fresh rain smells and lightning and thunder and rain. He gave you everything. Everything. Sight, touch, smell, taste. He gave you the ability to choose for yourself and think for yourself. He gave you the ability to procreate. And you hate him? For what? For what? I don't get it. I don't get why everyone all of a sudden is committing sodomy, is fornicating like on levels never seen before. Why everyone is addicted to pills and Ozempic and drugs, and they changed the wording from drugs to medication. A drug is a drug. Anything that influences the chemical or mental makeup of the body is a drug. I don't care what it is. It's a drug. Caffeine is a drug. I'm drinking coffee. It's a drug. It's a stimulant. But they'll have you believe that Ozempic and Prozac and Oxycontin and hydrocodone and Xanax are medications. Those are drugs. Those are drugs. And the United States government has tried to drug me for 5 years. They have tried and tried and tried. And I've told them I don't do drugs, period. This is caffeine. That's caffeine and nicotine. And the only reason I don't have a problem with caffeine and nicotine is because they're natural. They're from the earth. Caffeine is from the coffee bean. Nicotine is from the tobacco plant. Granted, now they've got chemicals all in them thanks to our fine government poisoning us. I just don't understand why the hatred for God. I don't get it. But we're going to go over the 10 Commandments. And we're gonna review them and try to get them all done. I'm already halfway through the show. And it's humid here in Oklahoma, so if I'm sweating, it's because I just took my dog for a drive and it is so humid outside. It's about to storm, and I wish it would just rain already because it is humid. You shall have no other gods before me. Worship only the one true God. That's the first commandment. You shall have no other gods before me. What is wrong with worshiping Jesus Christ instead of sex or money or Snapchat or TikTok or gold or silver or attention or cars? What's wrong with worshiping Jesus more than money or the government? Is that the problem with the government? They want you to worship them. They want you to bow down to a congressman or a senator like serial rapist Eric Swalwell. We're supposed to respect serial rapists and pedophiles. Let's think about this. You want me to respect Eric Swalwell or Nancy Pelosi or Tony Gonzalez or Nancy Mace more than I respect Jesus Christ, who sat up on a cross for 3 days suffering and died for my sins? I don't think so. I don't think so. You're crazy. You shall not make any idols. Do not worship physical representations or substitutes for God. You mean like golden statues of the president? You mean like the bull on Wall Street? You mean like Vegas or, the UFC or the Epstein Ballroom, Memorial Ballroom? We're not supposed to worship that. What's wrong with that? Why would I want to worship a false idol? What is so big about worshiping? Who wants to worship a statue? Who thinks that's a good idea? Let's worship statues. I don't think so. You shall not take the name of the Lord in vain. Now, I want to talk about this for a minute. My whole life, I have seen so many people get in arguments, even physical altercations, for someone speaking bad about their mother who gave them birth. But they don't say anything about Jesus, who created you, who is the reason you're breathing air. Excuse me. So people will fight to defend their mother's honor, but they won't do anything to defend the honor of Jesus Christ, their Lord and Savior, God, the creator of everything. Do you see the ignorance and the arrogance at the same time overlapping? I just don't understand some of this, and I don't understand what's so bad about that. Tell me what's bad about the 10 Commandments. We're going to keep going. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Dedicate a day of rest to the Lord. What's bad about that? Nobody likes to take a day off and rest. I took a day off from the gym today. I haven't taken a day off in months. I was on 2-a-days for a while, but my shoulder, I got something. I've heard it before, and every once in a while when I go too hard, it kind of flares up. So I took today, no gym at all today. I went to work, but I took the day off from the gym to let my body heal. But what's wrong with a day off? What is so bad about this? Honor your father and your mother. Respect your parents so that you may live a long life. What's wrong with having respect for your parents? I mean, in America, they try to convince you that you shouldn't live with your parents. You shouldn't take care of your parents. You should throw your parents in a nursing home, let the state take all of their possessions, sell them and auction them off, and then drug them to death in 3 to 6 months. Go ahead, put your elderly parents in a nursing home and tell me what happens. Tell me what happens to all of their stuff that they've acquired over their life, and tell me how long they're in that nursing home before they die. How's Andrew Cuomo doing with his nursing home? Remember Andrew Cuomo during COVID? How many elderly people did he kill? Yeah, this is just evil. You shall not murder. Do not commit premeditated killing. You shall not murder. That's bad? Is that a bad thing? The government kills people all the time. Matter of fact, Pete Hegseth brags about carpet bombing children's schools. He thinks it's great. It's great to drop Patriot missiles on children's schools because it's in a foreign country. It's perfectly fine. That we're actually bragging about mass murder of children on national media in the United States of America. And you're telling me America don't hate God? You shall not commit adultery. Respect the sanctity of marriage. How's marriage doing these days? What's the divorce rate? 50+%? Half of all marriage ended in divorce? And what do you think the reason for divorce is? Money or adultery? Adultery or money? What's wrong with being in a relationship with one person for 20, 30, 40 years? What's wrong with that type of commitment, adoration, and admiration for another human being? What's wrong with that? Why is polygamy perfectly acceptable these days? I don't get it. I don't understand. It makes no sense to me. You think it's cool to go sleep around while you're in a relationship with somebody? It shows that's a sociopath. You have no emotions. If you can't be in love and be in a monogamous relationship with one person and be happy, you're mentally, there's something wrong with you. Psychologically, you're a sociopath, a psychopath, you're narcissistic, you could be a sex addict. You have something wrong. That's not normal. You shall not steal. Do not take what belongs to others. Like billions of dollars of we the people's hard-earned money that we go to work in the heat and the cold and the rain and the snow, 6, 7 days a week, 40, 50 hours a week. You steal our money, steal our children, sell our children, stick dicks in our children, and then tell us we're crazy. We the people are crazy because we don't want you stealing our money, and you don't hate God. You don't hate God. I had a lady on this I've been on 4 mental health holds just for doing all this, for advocating for children not to be raped, murdered, and sold. That's the modus operandi of the government. You're crazy. You're crazy. A lady said in the mental health place, she was one of the directors. She said, have you ever been told you're hyper-religious? What does that mean? I have too much faith in God. I read the Bible. What does hyper-religious mean? Oh, I believe in Jesus Christ more than I believe in Donald Trump, so I'm hyper-religious. I believe in Christ more than Congress, so I'm hyper-religious. I'd never heard that term until Oklahoma City. Kidnapped me and threw me in a mental health facility, tried to drug me against my will forcefully, all for reporting child sex trafficking of my son for 1,736 days by serial child killer, serial child rapist, State Judge Kelly L. Hansen. Hyper-religious. See, these are terms they use. Anti-Semitic, hyper-religious, Judeo-Christian. There's no such thing as Judeo-Christian. Jews and Christians are complete opposites. Jews are a satanic occult. Christians are followers of Christ who believe in the Bible and the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Jews believe that sacrificing children to Baal is perfectly acceptable. Christians and people who follow Christ believe children should be protected at all costs. It's that simple. It really is. And YouTube's going to shadow ban this. I will not get any views. That's okay. I don't do these for views, clicks, likes, money, attention. No. This is all documentation for what the United States government does to its own citizens and children, that they are domestic terrorists, a satanic occult of Baal worshippers, serving the greater Israel under blackmail, bribery, ownership. They're slaves. Our government are slaves to a foreign nation. And we the people are suffering. Our children are suffering. It's a genocide. Check the history. Check the legislation. Look up Georgia Senator Nancy Schaefer. Eagle Summit Conference speech. Listen to what she says. It's $1 billion industry selling American children. Billions of dollars they make selling kids. Our kids. While they steal our money to do it. You shall not bear false witness. Do not lie or give false testimony against a neighbor. Well, how does our government stand up to that commandment? I'd say pretty much any time any politician opens their mouth, and this goes to the FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, this goes to state and local law enforcement, anytime they open their mouth, they're lying. They are lying. All they do is bear false witness. You know what? They are so lost in the lies about themselves. They can't possibly tell the truth about anybody else. They can't even tell the truth about themselves. They refuse to acknowledge the truth about themselves. You shall not covet. Do not jealously desire what belongs to others. You think the government is jealous because we, the people, still have our souls? Because we, the people, can maintain normalcy, decency, morals, values, ethics, and integrity? While they are godless, soulless heathens, walking corpses, bags of flesh, breathing air? There's never enough children to rape. There's never enough women to rape. There's never enough sex they can have. There's never enough money to satisfy their insatiable lust. Insatiable. And I'd say running through the Ten Commandments, and you put the Ten Commandments against the United States government, I would say the United States government hates God, blasphemes God, smites God, and is the largest satanic occult of pedophiles in the world. And it's ironic that Russia just passed a law giving anyone worshiping Satan 8 years in prison. You can look that up. If you get caught performing any satanic rituals or in any satanic practices in Russia, you get 8 years in prison. You know what you get here in America? You get to run for Senate or Congress. You wanna go out to Bohemia Grove, California, gnaw on a newborn, chew on a child? You might make governor. You might make governor if you got some amniotic fluid and blood running down your face from chewing on children, feasting on fetuses. You might make president one day if you eat enough babies in the United States of America. You could be promoted. That's where we are as a nation. I'm going to read John 15:13 one more time, and then I'm going to read another verse, which is going to be John 16:1 through 3 or 4. Greater love has no one than this, than one laid down his life for his friends. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm willing to die for my Lord Jesus Christ. I am willing to die advocating for these children. I don't care about the FBI. I don't care about the law enforcement and their little guns and batons and tasers. I don't care. Stop raping, murdering, selling, and eating children, and you won't hear from me ever again. Ever. But until then, I'm going to make these videos every single day. I'm going to send emails every single day. I'm going to put in for federal casework every single day. And I've dedicated 30 years of my life to this, and I am in college to become a lawyer. And I don't care if it takes 10 years. I don't care if it takes 15 years. If I got to do all these classes twice, I don't care. Whatever it takes. Just so you know. And I want to read John 16:1. These things I have spoken to you so that you may be kept from stumbling. They will make you outcast from the synagogue. But an hour is coming for everyone who kills you to think that he is offering service to God. These things they will do because they have not known the Father or me. See, this government does all this because they don't know Jesus or God or Yahweh, Elohim, I am. They know nothing of the sort. They know Baal. They know Moloch. Yeah, that's who they worship. Go to Bohemia Grove, California. They'll be out there. Go ahead. But these things I have spoken to you, so that when their hour comes, you may remember that I told you of them. These things I did not say to you at the beginning because I was with you. So Jesus told us about these Baal worshipers, these Moloch worshipers, what they're going to do. They're going to call you crazy. They're going to ostracize you. They're going to ban you. They're going to block you. They're going to censor you. Jesus Christ already told us all this. It's all in the Bible. Spoiler alert to the United States government and the satanic occult of Baal worshipers and the Jews. Spoiler alert, God wins. You lose. It's just a matter of time, really. Just a matter of time. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for tonight's show. I thank you for your time, your attention. I hope I will be able to give you an update on the federal lawsuit I filed as I document everything. I know that California CPS got a copy of it. I have not received confirmation from serial child killer state judge Kelly L. Hansen as I sent him a copy, and I filed it in federal courts in Riverside County. So I'm waiting to hear from Ro Khanna, Thomas Massie, Robert Garcia, federal judge in Riverside County, state judge Kelly L. Hansen, or any of the entities involved in the mass rape, murder, and sale of children, and the fact that I haven't seen or heard from my son since 2021 because I live in the United States of baby rape, the world's largest child sex slavery industrial complex to ever exist, all aided and abetted by state, local, federal law enforcement politicians for the greater of Israel, the Greater Israel Project, of course. So thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, this video won't get out, but that's fine. I email these links across the country. Everyone have a good night. I will see you tomorrow.